the shop. I'm Dan, the mechanician, and today we're going to be working on a 2010 Ford Taurus 3.5 liter front wheel drive. We're going to be changing the rear wheel hub on this, and this will be the same from about 2010 to 2019. So first thing we're going to need is a 19mm socket. We're going to have to get these lug nuts off, get this tire off and out of the way, so let's go ahead and do that. You're also going to need probably a 15 and an 18, and that's about all you're going to need. So we'll go ahead and get into it, show you how this is done. And the sizes may vary a little bit depending on the year or if something's been replaced before. Sometimes they'll give you a little bit different of size, like say a caliper bracket. Bolt could be an 18 on one year and it might be a 17 on another year, or if it's a remanufactured part, you know, you never know what kind of bolt you're going to get. But let's go ahead and get this wheel off here. 19mm. So the first thing we're going to do is remove these caliper bracket bolts here and here. Take these two off. Hopefully you got enough play in here, that way we can take this whole thing off. So let's go ahead and get those 15s out first. Alright, so we got our 15, let's get in here. Now that we got both bolts out, it should just pull off. Might have to wiggle it a little bit. These are those stupid screw-in caliper pistons. There we go. Pry out on it a little bit. So we got that to pop off. I'm gonna grab me a bungee cord, tie this up out of the way. So now that we got that off, we're gonna move back around here, get this here rotor off. Alright, so this appears to be about a T40. So I got a T40 here. Sometimes, especially when you live in the rust belt and everything's rusty like this is gonna be a little hard to get out. But what I found does it real well. It's an impact driver, but you don't want to hammer on it. You'll strip that out or you'll strip this out. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this nice and seated in here because it's a little tight. We're going to use our hammer here. Make sure you're good and fully seated in there. And then make sure you're going left, lefty loosey, righty tighty. And then you just want to lightly hammer on it. And just like that, comes right out. Sometimes those are a bear to get out, but that little bit of impact definitely helps. Now the rotor's ready to come off. If you're not all corroded like this, it may just slide off, but as you can see, it's not the case here. So we're going to have to hit this a little bit. First, we're going to tickle on it with this a hair. Not too bad. Make sure you don't hit your lug nuts, but if you're your lug studs, but if you're replacing the hub, it doesn't really matter anyway, but you don't want to strike the face unless you're replacing this too, which I'm not. So, let's see if we can get our long handled ratchet in here. Alright, so now that we've got them cracked loose, should be able to use our impact to zip them right out of there. Or if you don't have one, you'll have to do it by hand. Get in your hole. So it's still too tight to do by hand, so now we got to move to the wrench. You can see all that corrosion in there. That's going to be fun. So now it's loose, or at least it's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and come back over here. Everything out, all 4 bolts. This is ready to come out. But with all the corrosion, it's definitely going to be a pain to get out. First, we're going to try tapping it on the outside. Worst case scenario, we might be able to come in back here and hit it, knock it out. Let's go ahead and see how hard it is to get out. So now that we've got all the bolts out, this should just come right out, but we got a lot of corrosion around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a big old hammer, hit it right up here, try to work this out. We'll also hit it up this way, keep working our way back, this way, that way, till this works its way out, hopefully. All right, let's get to whacking.
What did he say?
So far, no movement. This thing is really corroded in there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and let it down a little bit, get a little bit better of an angle on it, see if we can smack it a little harder. It's fun living in the Rust Belt. Nope. Hammer upgrade. So if you keep hitting it, it's eventually going to come out, but I'm in kind of a rush, so we're going to go ahead and try the old air hammer. So not even the air hammer's doing anything. So we're just going to have to wear ourselves out with a big old sledgehammer, and that's just what it's going to be. So let's get to beating, because this is how you're probably going to have to do it anyway, because you likely don't have a shop with a lift, air hammer, all that kind of stuff. Or maybe you do and it'll work out for you, or maybe yours will just pop right out, but that's not the case for me, as it usually goes. So we're going to beat the shit out of this with a hammer. I think I might be starting to see a little bit of a crack between the surfaces. This thing don't like me. Ain't life grand? Everything's in the fucking way. Almost out of breath. Almost out of energy. Simple job. Ah. Alright. Now I 100% sure see a little bit of a crack. We're getting there. Woo! You know, it's times like these that I contemplate my life choices that's led me to this point. This is supposed to be an easy job. And it's not too bad. But goddamn, it's going to wear you out. I feel sorry for any of you guys who don't have the proper tools, don't have a lift, and also live in the Rust Belt, because this is going to be a nightmare. But you can do it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done. We beat the shit out of it. It can't stay now, so let's keep going. Alright, so after you get done crying for about 5 minutes, you wipe your tears, you put your purse down, and we get back to it. As you can see, all this corrosion, just holding it in. Definitely a big pain in the arse. As you see, we bent the shit out of everything to get it off, but we got it off. So now let's get in here and look what we got to clean up. So as you can see, all this crap, see how that's big and raised? That's all corrosion that was holding it in. It should be smooth and flat like right there. So we're going to have to come in here, clean this all up. As you can see, that's the sensor we're wanting to avoid. We don't want to break that, keep that clean. So we're going to go ahead and get this cleaned out right here so we can slip our new hub in. You also want to clean up around the mating surface right here. Make sure it sets good and flat. We had some corrosion there too. First, we're going to use our wire brush. Go ahead, clean up this area a little bit. Careful of that sensor. You can also use a screwdriver, something else to chip off this big stuff. Got me a flathead here. See all that corrosion popping away? You don't want to dig in too much. This is aluminum, but it's not going to hurt it that much either. So you just keep going around like that. Get that all cleaned up using your screwdriver, your brush. I'm going to go ahead and speed things up here a little bit and grab a power tool. I'm going to start with just this. This is hard rubber. See if we can get a little bit of that cleaned out of there. You don't want to go too far. Make this uneven. Like I said, you can do this all with just a scrubber wire brush for scrubbing. That's probably going to be alright. We're going to try to get a little bit more of that out of there. This isn't very abrasive, so it won't tear up the aluminum, but it'll at least get rid of most of it. So as you can see, maybe if the light ain't too bright, nice and smooth. Avoid our sensor. It's a little rough there, but I don't want to get into the sensor. I think we'll be able to get it in there just fine. So let's go ahead and grab the new hub, see if we can get it in there. We got our new hub, as you can see, much more gooder. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up. Looks like these are wider apart than these two, if you can tell. These are closer together, just like these, so it's going to go in this way. You just got to line these bolt holes up. And now that we cleaned it up, look how nice and easy it slips in and out. So now, we're going to get the 4 bolts from earlier, put them in the back to get this bolted back on. So as you can see, we got our 4 bolt holes here. We're going to line those up one at a time. So we're going to go ahead and get this one in. With the other hand, kind of jiggle it till you get it lined up. So we got one started. I like to go with a crisscross pattern, so here to over here. We'll go ahead, use our little electric ratchet, or you can do it all the way by hand if that's all you got. That's fine. But I've already spent way too long on this job. So what I'm going to do is run them in with this. Get them a little snug. Now that we got them all snug, you're going to want to come back in, make sure they're good and tight. So we get our long handled ratchet here. Snug them in like an X pattern, the way I like to do it. That way you get a good even seat. So now what we're going to do, grab our rotor, put it back on. As you can see up here, you got this little hole. That's where that little screw goes in. We have multiple ones that it could go in, but here's the one that was in. As you can see, metal's worn away. So we're just going to line that up. And we're going to find that little bolt right here. You don't have to put this in if it breaks. That's fine. Some cars don't even have these. But when I got them, I put them back in. It helps hold the rotor in place. Makes things a lot easier. So now that we don't need so much impact because we're going on rather than off, you just use a ratchet here. Just like that. Now our rotor's good and tight. It's not hitting on this plate at all, so we know we're going to be good. So next, we're going to put this bracket back on, and we're done. Simple as that. See if we can squeeze this back on without having to take the brake pads out and twist that caliper in, but you may have to do that. I also may have to do that. In an ideal world, that'll be loose enough so you can, slip it back on, but as you've seen, this job hasn't gone according to plan for me, so we're going to go ahead and disassemble this. We're going to go ahead and take this caliper off the bracket. That way we can spread these pads out, make that easier to go on. Alright, just taking those 2 bolts out. It's going to separate the bracket from here. See it spinning? We're going to have to hold that. So now, the bracket's good and secure. Got our pads in there. Just double check. Make sure those aren't frozen up. Look at that. Of course, our caliper bracket's also frozen up. slide. So let's see if we can knock that out and clean it up real quick. You don't want your brakes locking up on you. Sometimes if you get it spinning and push out, you can get it to break loose. Now that we got that out of there, you can see that's pretty dry and rusty. We're going to go get this cleaned up with a wire wheel, and we're going to re-lube it. As you can see, got that nice and cleaned up. Let's go ahead and throw a little brake parts lube on it. Now that we got a little lubricant on it, we're going to slide it back in. But as you see, you never know what you're going to run into when you get into a job like this. You might have to fix a little something else here and there. We didn't want to put that back together like that because that could cause us issues with our brakes. Work it in and out. Get that lube on there, spin it a little bit. Alright. Now we have two free and moving slides. So let's go ahead, flip this back up. We're almost done. I hate these stupid freaking things. You got to spin this in to get it to go in. Wait a minute, is it going to go? Hey, look at that. After we got everything, I think it might have been that was holding us up, keeping us angled. So hopefully you won't have that issue. And it'll go a lot smoother for you than it did for me. Now everything's good and tight. Hub's spinning. Brakes aren't grinding, but we got a little bit of a warp. But our hub is installed, replaced. We're good to go now. So just throw the wheel back on, put your 19mm lug nuts back on, and the job's done. Grab your 19, go in a star pattern, get them just good and snug. Watch out for this little guy here. See what people make me work on? Can't tell what that is. Whatever. I don't hear any grinding anymore. You hear a little bit of drag on that brake, but that's normal. We're good to go. So now we can get this car out of here, and now you know how to replace the hub on a 2010 to 2019 Ford Taurus. I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully it was informational to y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Have a good one.
The hell are you all still doing here? Told you the video's over. You're just gonna keep hanging around in the shop? Might as well start clicking on some stuff down there. I don't know, help me out a little bit. But I'm gonna be turning these lights off soon, so you might want to be getting to it. I'm heading out.